There comes a moment in your life when the noise outside becomes unbearable. Everyone has something to say about who you should be, what you should do, and how you should live. But deep inside, your soul whispers something different, something pure, something powerful. That whisper says, it's time to focus, not on them, not on what they think, but on you, the person you've ignored, underestimated, and doubted for far too long. You've been giving your energy to everything that drains you. Now it's time to give it back to yourself. You've spent years trying to prove your worth to people who don't even value themselves. You've bent, broken, and reshaped yourself just to fit into places you were never meant to belong. But tell me, when was the last time you truly valued your own presence? When did you last look in the mirror and see not what's missing, but what's magnificent? The truth is, you've forgotten your own value because you've been too busy chasing validation from those who couldn't even recognize gold if it was burning in their hands. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. You've been busy but not productive. You've been occupied but not fulfilled. Your energy has been scattered, your attention divided. You've been trying to water every plant in the garden except your own roots. But no matter how much you give, if your own soil is dry, everything around you will eventually die too. So today, stop everything and ask yourself, where is my focus? If it's not on your growth, your peace, and your dreams, it's time to change direction. There's something dangerous about a person who finally decides to focus. Because when you stop caring about opinions and start caring about your evolution, you become unstoppable. The world doesn't fear loud people. It fears focused ones, the ones who move in silence, the ones who don't announce their goals but achieve them, the ones who no longer seek to impress but to progress. That's who you're becoming. And it's about time. You've been treating your energy like it's infinite, giving pieces of yourself away to every distraction, every drama, every person who offers temporary attention. But energy is currency. Every time you invest it in something meaningless, you go bankrupt internally. That's why you feel exhausted even when you do nothing. That's why peace feels foreign, because you've been paying for validation with your sanity. The only way to heal is to stop spending your focus on things that don't grow you. When you start valuing yourself, people will call you selfish. Let them. Because the truth is, most people only love you when you're convenient for them. The moment you set boundaries, you become a problem. But boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They protect the energy you've been wasting on those who never deserved it. Stop apologizing for protecting your peace. You're not cold, you're healing. You're not distant, you're finally learning to prioritize yourself. The reason you keep losing yourself is because you keep giving your focus to chaos. Every time you open your phone, you feed your mind with noise that keeps you distracted from your own voice. You compare, you scroll, you consume, but rarely do you create. You've forgotten that silence is not empty, it's full of answers. Start spending more time with your own thoughts. That's where you'll find clarity. That's where you'll rediscover the person you were before the world told you who to be. There's something sacred about isolation, when it's chosen with intention. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's alignment. It's where you meet the real you. The version that's been buried under responsibilities, expectations, and guilt. You don't need another relationship, another party, or another escape. You need stillness. You need to look yourself in the eye and say, I've neglected you for too long, but I'm here now. That is the beginning of self-respect. Focus isn't built overnight. It's forged in moments of resistance when your mind screams for distraction, but you choose discipline. When you want to escape, but you stay. When you want to quit, but you keep going anyway. That's how warriors are made. Not in comfort, but in the quiet battles no one sees. Every time you say no to distraction, you're saying yes to your destiny. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you're rewriting your future. Valuing yourself doesn't mean thinking you're better than others. It means remembering that you're not less. You've spent too long waiting for someone to choose you, validate you, or save you. But here's the truth, no one tells you. No one is coming. Not your friends, not your boss, not your family. This is your fight, your focus, your life. Stop waiting for someone to hand you permission to become who you already are. You are the permission. You are the breakthrough you've been waiting for. There's a quiet revolution happening inside you right now. The moment you realize you no longer need approval. It's a dangerous thing, this kind of freedom. Because once you learn to value yourself, you stop settling for half love, half effort, half life. You stop tolerating mediocrity, not because you're arrogant, but because you finally know your worth. And when you know your worth, you don't beg for opportunities, you create them. The world will test your focus. It will tempt you with shortcuts, distract you with noise, and seduce you with comfort. But remember, focus is fragile. Protect it like a treasure, because what you focus on grows, and what you ignore fades. If you focus on fear, it multiplies. If you focus on faith, it expands. The choice has always been yours. You just forgot how powerful your attention really is. You are not behind, you are not late, you are not less. You are simply in the process of remembering your power. The delay you feel is not a punishment, it's preparation. The universe will not give you what you're not ready to hold. So while you're waiting, focus, build, heal, learn. Every second you invest in yourself now compounds into strength later. This is your training season. Don't waste it chasing distractions disguised as opportunities. Stop chasing people who don't clap for you. Stop explaining your worth to those committed to misunderstanding it. Stop performing for attention. You are not entertainment. You are energy. You are purpose in motion. The ones meant to walk with you will recognize your value without needing a presentation. Until then, walk alone. Because walking alone with clarity is better than walking with a crowd that leads you nowhere. There's a reason you feel a shift inside you lately. Because your spirit is tired of being silent. It's calling you to rise, to reclaim your focus, to value yourself not for what you can give, but for who you already are. You've dimmed your light for too long trying to make others comfortable. But comfort never built a legacy. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, fully awake, fully focused, fully alive. The day you decide to value yourself will be the day everything changes. Because suddenly, you'll stop begging for what you can create. Stop chasing what's already within you, and stop settling for less than what you deserve. This is not motivation. This is a mirror. Look into it and remember, you are the investment. You are the priority. You are the project. And the time to focus and value yourself is now. You've been taught to value productivity over peace, validation over vision, and speed over stillness. But none of that has brought you fulfillment, has it? You've been running on empty, chasing goals that don't feed your soul. It's time to unlearn what the world told you success looks like. Success isn't about being busy, it's about being aligned. It's not about how many people applaud when you win. It's about whether you feel alive while chasing the win. You can fool everyone with your achievements, but you can't fool your own soul when it's starving for meaning. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to stand out, even if it makes others uncomfortable. You've been playing small because you were afraid of being too much, too loud, too ambitious, too different. But those who fear your light only do so because they refuse to ignite their own. You weren't created to shrink yourself just so others could feel tall. You were created to expand, to rise, to disrupt. That expansion begins the moment you stop apologizing for existing as your full self. Every day, your focus is under attack. Notifications, opinions, comparisons, all fighting for a piece of your attention. But focus is not something you find, it's something you build. Every time you choose silence over scrolling, action over excuses, solitude over approval, you're building focus. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows through resistance. The more you fight distractions, the stronger your focus becomes. And soon, what used to break your attention will no longer even touch your energy. When you start valuing yourself, you'll notice how quiet your life becomes. That's not loneliness, that's elevation. Growth requires space. When you remove what drains you, you make room for what builds you. Don't confuse peace with boredom. The silence that feels strange now is the same silence that will one day become your sanctuary. You're not losing people. You're losing illusions. The ones who leave when you evolve were never meant to stay in your higher frequency. Stop begging for closure from people who had no problem breaking you. You keep looking for healing in the same place that hurt you. Focus means redirecting your energy away from the past and into your power. You don't need to understand why they did what they did. You just need to understand why you stayed. And once you do, forgive yourself, not them. Because the real closure doesn't come from conversations. It comes from finally deciding that your peace matters more than your pain. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. You think you have time, but every second spent on something meaningless steals from your purpose. You can't move forward if your attention is chained to everything that doesn't align with your goals. Ask yourself daily, does this feed my future or my fears? The answer will reveal what deserves your focus. You are not a prisoner of your habits. You are the architect of them. Rebuild your routine to match your dreams, not your comfort zone. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to you. Your time, your energy, your attention, they are sacred. Yet you give them away so freely to people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared. Start treating yourself like a limited edition, because you are. Stop letting everyone have a piece of you just because they ask. The real flex is learning to say no without feeling guilty. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. The world glorifies hustle, but rarely honors healing. You're told to grind harder, work longer, achieve more. But what's the point of building an empire if you lose yourself in the process? Focus isn't just about chasing success. It's about maintaining alignment. True power is being able to pause, recharge, and return sharper than ever. When you start valuing rest as much as effort, your focus becomes unstoppable. Because a calm mind cuts deeper than a tired one. You will never master focus until you master detachment. Detach from outcomes, detach from opinions, detach from the need to control everything. The universe moves faster when you stop clinging. Focus isn't about forcing results. It's about aligning with them. Trust that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. The more you release, the lighter you become. And the lighter you become, the faster you rise. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is disappear. Not to run away, but to rebuild. Go ghost on the noise. Withdraw your attention from chaos. Let them wonder where you went while you quietly evolve into everything they said you'd never become. Focus is found in isolation, but transformation is born there. One day you'll return unrecognizable, not because you changed who you are, but because you finally became who you were meant to be. You owe it to yourself to outgrow your old version. The one who settled, the one who tolerated too much, the one who kept dimming their fire just to stay liked. You don't need to be liked. You need to be legendary. Focus turns potential into power, and power turns pain into purpose. Everything you've been through wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to direct you. You had to break so you could rebuild with intention. There's a price to pay for focusing on yourself, and it's isolation. Not everyone will understand your silence. They'll call you distant, arrogant, or selfish. But you're not withdrawing from the world, you're returning to yourself. You're not ignoring people, you're prioritizing peace. You're not giving up, you're upgrading. And soon, the same people who questioned your absence will be the ones studying your comeback. The reason your life feels stuck isn't because you lack motivation. It's because your focus is fragmented. You've been trying to build a masterpiece with a distracted mind. But masterpieces require precision. It's time to remove the clutter. Focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Every ounce of attention you give to nonsense delays your destiny. Every moment you waste doubting yourself strengthens the version of you that never evolves. Starve your distractions. Feed your discipline. You've been living reactively, not intentionally, responding to everyone's demands but ignoring your own needs. Focus flips that script. When you focus, you start designing your life instead of surviving it. You start saying, "This is my time. This is my path. This is my story." And when you start saying that, everything begins to shift, because the universe doesn't respond to confusion. It responds to clarity. Get clear, then go all in. And when you finally value yourself, the world will too. Not because it suddenly sees your worth, but because your energy no longer accepts anything less. People treat you how you treat yourself. So if you want to change how they see you, change how you see you. Walk like you're already chosen. Move like you already belong. Speak like your words carry weight. Because they do. You are not waiting for the right time. You are the right time. You are the moment. You have to understand something powerful. The version of you that stays distracted is the version that stays average. Focus isn't a luxury, it's survival. Because in a world built to scatter your attention, discipline is rebellion. Every time you choose focus over chaos, you're breaking a pattern that generations before you never escaped. You're rewriting history. You're teaching your mind that not every notification deserves a reaction, not every noise deserves a response, and not every opportunity deserves your energy. The real power is in your selectivity. You can't expect to live an extraordinary life while giving ordinary effort. The truth is brutal. You can't be focused and flaky at the same time. You can't want transformation while holding on to distraction. You can't pray for peace and still entertain chaos. The moment you value yourself enough to stop compromising, life will meet you with alignment. But as long as you keep saying yes to everything, you'll keep saying no to yourself. Focus demands sacrifice. Comfort, company, convenience. That's the price of evolution. There's a reason so many people never rise. They're addicted to comfort. They'd rather be liked than be legendary. They'd rather blend than break through. But not you. You're done with average. You've tasted what distraction feels like, and now you crave clarity. You've lived the life of compromise. Now you want commitment. Not to others, but to yourself. You want to look in the mirror and see discipline, direction, and dignity staring back. That's what valuing yourself looks like. Consistency even when no one's watching. The real battle is internal. Your mind will try to pull you back to old habits, old thoughts, old doubts. But every time you resist, you win. Focus is forged in the moments you want to quit but don't. You won't always feel motivated, but if you stay disciplined, motivation will find you again. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Every second you hold your attention on your purpose, you weaken your distractions. The mind that once controlled you starts working for you. The day you start valuing yourself, your standards rise. And that's when your old life begins to resist you. Friends will drift, relationships will end, opportunities will vanish. Don't panic. That's not loss, that's alignment. The universe is clearing space for the next level. Every time you choose self-worth over validation, something will try to test you. But remember, pressure doesn't destroy diamonds, it defines them. Let your focus harden you into something unbreakable. You can't pour love into others while running on empty. You can't give clarity when you're consumed by confusion. Focus starts with self-care, not the kind that looks pretty on social media, but the kind that requires brutal honesty. It's cleaning your mental house, it's facing your fears, it's forgiving yourself for every time you forgot your value. You've been surviving in fragments, but it's time to come home to yourself. Whole, centered, complete. When you finally focus, time slows down. Start noticing the details, your breath, your thoughts, your purpose. You stop rushing because you realize nothing worth building was ever meant to be built fast. The world's obsession with instant gratification has robbed us of depth, but depth is where greatness hides. Slow growth isn't failure, it's foundation. You're not behind, you're becoming solid. And solid things don't crumble when life shakes them. You've been told to chase success, but never taught to sustain it. That's why focus matters. Success built without focus is like a castle built on sand, impressive but temporary. If you want longevity, you need clarity. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing. Because when your why is strong, distractions lose their power. People lose their control. The noise loses its meaning. And you start moving with a quiet kind of authority that can't be faked. Stop waiting for confidence to start. Confidence comes from focus. When you give your full energy to something, you become undeniable. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every legend started as someone who said, "I'll do it anyway." You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. The world doesn't remember the one who started the fastest, it remembers the one who stayed the longest. Be that one. Your silence will be misunderstood, but your results will speak fluently. You don't need to explain your journey to those still trapped in noise. Let your success do the talking. Focus is the language of elevation. Few understand it, and that's exactly why it works. While they're chasing attention, you're building legacy. Let them doubt, let them laugh, just don't let them distract you. Because soon the same voices that mocked your silence will echo your name in admiration. You can't evolve in environments that celebrate distraction. You can't grow where your value is questioned. Sometimes the most courageous act is walking away from what doesn't honor your energy. Value yourself enough to demand environments that match your ambition. If your circle doesn't challenge you, it limits you. If they're not talking about growth, they're talking about gossip. Choose your focus, like your future depends on it, because it does. You are not chasing perfection. You are chasing alignment. You're not trying to impress people. You're trying to impress your potential. Spend too much time proving yourself to the world. Now prove yourself to yourself. Every time you stay disciplined, every time you say no to distractions, every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you're sending a message to the universe that you're ready for more. And the universe always rewards readiness. Sometimes the hardest part of focusing is accepting that you've wasted time. But wasted time is not the same as a wasted life. The moment you become aware, the countdown restarts. Awareness is the doorway to transformation. You can't change your past, but you can change your pattern. The seconds you have left are more valuable than the years you lost, if you focus. You don't need to regret who you were, you just need to commit to who you're becoming. Don't expect instant validation when you start valuing yourself. At first, it'll feel lonely. You'll question if you're doing the right thing. But solitude isn't a punishment, it's proof that you're shifting frequencies. You're leaving behind people, habits, and energies that can't survive in your next chapter. Keep going. You're not losing anything, you're gaining you. That's the highest form of wealth. The richest person isn't the one with money, it's the one with mastery over their focus. The moment you realize your time is sacred, everything changes. You stop chasing, stop convincing, stop begging. You start attracting, commanding, and creating. Because when you truly value yourself, you stop asking for things you can build. You stop seeking permission from people still figuring themselves out. You stop playing small in rooms you've already outgrown. Focus transforms you from a seeker to a creator, and that's when life begins to bend in your favor. There will come a day when you'll thank yourself for not giving up, for staying disciplined when your emotions begged you to quit, for focusing when everything around you screamed for your attention. Because focus is not glamorous, it's gritty, it's lonely, it's filled with moments where you doubt whether it's all worth it. But one day, you'll wake up and realize that every sacrifice, every no, every silent night was building something unshakable inside you, self-respect. And that's something no one can ever take away. You don't need to chase love, recognition, or opportunity when you're focused. They will find you, because the energy of a person who values themselves is magnetic. You won't have to beg for doors to open. They'll open because you've become the kind of person who deserves them. Focus turns you from a follower into a force. And when you become that force, the universe bends itself to your frequency. You stop chasing what's meant for you. You start attracting it effortlessly. Discipline isn't punishment, it's self-love in action. Every time you say no to something that distracts you, you're saying yes to your future. You're proving that you believe in the person you're becoming more than the comfort of who you are. The world has enough dreamers. It needs doers. It needs people who wake up every day and choose themselves with quiet confidence. Not because it's easy, but because they refuse to betray their purpose anymore. When you finally learn to value yourself, you stop negotiating your worth. You no longer tolerate disrespect disguised as love or settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole feast. You stop accepting maybe from people who should have given you yes. That shift is terrifying at first, but then it becomes liberating. Because when you realize your energy is gold, you stop trading it for pennies. You stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. The people who once took you for granted will notice the change. They'll call you distant, changed, different, good. That's the goal. You didn't work this hard to stay the same. Growth demands distance. Distance from anything that dilutes your value, disrupts your peace, or distracts your focus. The more you evolve, the smaller your circle becomes. But don't mistake that for loneliness, it's refinement. You're not alone, you're aligned. You must protect your vision from the eyes that can't see it. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Some people can only understand you at the level of your past, not your potential. Stop explaining your mission to minds still committed to mediocrity. Let your results do the talking. The quieter you become, the louder your success will sound. Remember, focus doesn't need attention, it creates it. There's a reason the greats isolate before they elevate. They disappear, not because they're lost, but because they're found. They're not escaping, they're evolving. They're sharpening their vision, strengthening their mindset, and silencing the noise so their inner voice can roar. You need that phase too. You need to vanish for a while, not to be forgotten, but to return unstoppable. Silence is the birthplace of reinvention. You have to be brave enough to disappoint others to stay loyal to yourself. That's the real test of self-value. Can you choose your peace over their approval? Can you walk away from what doesn't serve you, even if it means walking alone? Focus demands that kind of courage, because every time you say yes to someone else's comfort, you say no to your own potential. Your purpose will never bloom in a garden where you're constantly watering everyone else's plants but your own. You'll start to notice, the more you focus, the less chaos you attract, because peace and drama can't coexist. You'll crave silence, clarity, and solitude like oxygen. You'll stop forcing connections and start flowing with your intuition. You'll begin to understand that protecting your focus is protecting your life's direction. Distraction is expensive. It costs you your destiny, and you can't afford that anymore. Focus turns pain into precision. Every setback becomes strategy. Every heartbreak becomes hunger. Every failure becomes feedback. When you value yourself, you stop seeing loss as defeat. You start seeing it as redirection. You realize that nothing that leaves your life does so by accident. Everything that exits makes room for something better, stronger, and more aligned. That's not luck, that's focus meeting faith. You have to remind yourself daily, you are not ordinary. You were not born to just exist, pay bills, and die. You were born to create, to impact, to elevate. But you can't do that while you're distracted by trivial things. You can't unlock your potential if you're busy watching others use theirs. Focus isn't about ignoring the world. It's about remembering who you are in it. You are the creator, not the spectator. Stop scrolling, start building. The world will always try to make you doubt yourself. That's its job, to test your conviction. But your focus is your weapon. When they criticize, stay silent. When they underestimate you, stay consistent. When they mock your discipline, stay dangerous. Because when your results arrive, they'll silence every doubt they ever spoke. That's the beauty of focus. It makes noise unnecessary. One day you'll look back and realize that the moment everything changed wasn't when you got the opportunity, but when you finally decided to value yourself enough to stay focused. That was the moment the world began to shift in your favor. You didn't need a miracle. You needed you. You needed your commitment, your clarity, your courage. And now, nothing and no one can stop you because you've mastered the hardest thing of all, your attention. This is your reminder. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply being refined by focus and rebuilt by self-respect. The world tried to convince you that you needed to be more beautiful, more successful, more perfect. But you were always enough. The only thing missing was your belief in your own value. So here's your truth. You are the project, the priority, the purpose. Focus on you, value you, and everything else will fall in place. And when that day comes, when you finally feel peace in your own presence, power in your silence, and pride in your reflection, you'll understand the message this entire time was never about the world. It was about you. The world changes when you do. The universe shifts when you align, and the moment you decide to focus and value yourself, everything you were chasing will start chasing you.